What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Profit Playbook DFS. I'm Jaime Hernandez, and man, week 8 was special. We absolutely crushed it in cash games. Nearly every single pick hit. And of course, the community ate big time, and so did I. But we're not stopping there. Week 9 slate is loaded, right? It's a 12-game slate with a lot of juicy matchups. And I've got my eyes locked on the same formula that's been printing profits for us, finding those high floor plays, hidden values, and a few, contrarian gems that can separate you from the field. And if you've been rocking with me since the start, thank you. And if you're new here, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment below with your favorite play of the week. I read every one of them, and let's dive in and keep stacking those W's, right? So let's go ahead and start off right off with the quarterback. And if you've been with me since the start of the season, I'm pretty sure you can guess where I'm going with this one, and that is Sawyer Robertson out of Baylor at 8,700. Baylor heads into this as a 5.5 point road underdog with an implied total around 30.5 points. And that sets up nicely for Robertson. The kid's been slinging it over 300 passing yards in 5 of 7 games and twice over 400 at the beginning of the season there. As you can see, but yeah, I love him right here versus Cincy. And Cincy's secondary has been a mess, giving up 275 yards per game through the air. That's about 125th in the country. And this game has shootout written all over it, right? I believe it's a 67.5 over under. And Robertson's arm should be front and center in this one. That's the reason why Sawyer Robertson, one of my favorite plays off the slate of week 9 here. And another guy that we've been going to throughout the whole season is Haynes King, quarterback for the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets there at 8,600, right? And when it comes to Haynes King, you know, I don't know, his passing, yards through the air, those are not going to win you the slates with him, right? It's going to be more so on the ground, right? As he has 560 yards rushing, and he's got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 rushing touchdowns there. And that's what we got last week. We had 120 yards rushing and 1 touchdown on the ground, right, with an additional 205 yards through the air. And those rushing yards and touchdown came in late, but we'll take him, right? We'll take him. And Georgia Tech is sitting on a 36-point implied team total, the second highest on the slate, and they're 17.5 point home favorites against Syracuse, right? So, you know, who's going to do that damage there is going to be Haynes King, right? And we love that. His when it comes to his legs, that's what make him elite in DFS. And we don't care if he does it through the air or on the ground. We love Haynes King here. He's one of my favorite plays at quarterback there, right? And another guy that we've jumped on the hype train the past few weeks, of course, he was on bye the last week. That is quarterback Avery Johnson out of Kansas State, 8,100 there. And Kansas State comes out of the bye week as a slight 2.5 point road underdog against Kansas with an implied total of 26 points. And Avery Johnson, he's finally starting to showcase what he can do as a dual threat quarterback. Over his last 3 games, he's averaged nearly 60 yards rushing, and now he faces a Kansas defense giving up 436 total yards per game, ranked 117th nationally there. And that's a green light matchup for Johnson to make plays both on the ground and through the air, right? Reason why I love him here in this slate. And of course, we're getting him at a discount from where he was at 2 weeks ago. And I'm expecting him to go off there. And let's see here, Avery Johnson. And then for my favorite play of the week, we've been on him throughout the whole season. His name is Brendan Sorsby, quarterback. Cincy, 7,400 there on the salary. Look, I'm going to say it again, right? I've been mentioning it all year long. Here's the salary mistake of the week, right? DraftKings price Sorsby way too low at 7,400, considering he's averaging 30.2 DraftKings points per game and faces a soft Baylor defense, giving up almost 250 yards through the air, right? Since he's a 5.5 point home favorite, depending on what bookie you're looking at, with a 36 point implied total. And Sorsby's, he's been rock solid all season, as you can see there. Yes, I know on the 11th, he had a down game, if you can call it a down game, 19.2, still solid, right? But yeah, expect him to be one of the most popular plays on the slate, and rightfully so. When it comes to cash games, though, that's what you want. You kind of want to be on the chalk, right? You don't want to sink, opposite the field. Regardless, Brendan Sorsby is my favorite play of the week at quarterback versus that Baylor defense that we always target. And of course, you can go with Robertson and just play both quarterbacks, right? And last but not least, we're gonna go a value pick here, all the way down at 6,000. And if he's questionable there, but you know he should play this game, and if he does play, right, he's my value play of the week. But it is a long shot, but it's interesting with Nico. UCLA is a massive 24.5 point road underdog with only 15 implied points against Indiana, right? Indiana coming off a bye, I believe, and of course they whooped on Oregon in Oregon, right? Still, Nico, he's got that anything can happen upside. He's already shown flashes of brilliance, right? Just ask Penn State fans after he torched them earlier this season. And of course, he'll need a career type of game for UCLA to keep it close. But of course, with this price, he's definitely worth a dart throw there. And we've seen it when he took down Penn State, right? So Nico, definitely my value play of the week at quarterback there, for obvious reasons. So that's there you have it for quarterback, right? We have Robertson, Baylor, Haynes King, Georgia Tech, Avery Johnson, Kansas State, Sorsby, Cincy, and of course, value play Nico out of UCLA. Well, anyways, let's go on to the running backs, those workhorse guys that we love, right? So let's go ahead and start off right with Ahmad Hardy from Missouri, the Missouri Tigers here. Missouri hits the road as a slight 2.5 point underdog against Vanderbilt with an implied team total of 25 points. And it's not the easiest matchup. Let's get that out of the way, right? But Vandy's actually, they've been strong against the run, right? Holding opponents to just 99 rushing yards per game. But Hardy is as close to a true workhorse as it gets. He's averaging 20 plus opportunities per game, already piling up 841 yards rushing and 11 touchdowns. And even in a tough matchup, volume is and will always be king at the running back position. And Hardy should see 20 to 25 touches again with the real shot at another 100-yard, possibly multi-touchdown outing here in this game. And then after Hardy, we'll go to Virginia in Jamari Taylor out of Virginia, right? Virginia rolls into this one as about nine, depending on the bookie, right? They're 9.5 point road favorites versus North Carolina with an implied team total of 31 points. And the Tar Heels, they've done a solid job against the run, only 118 yards rushing per game, but they're one of the biggest pass funnels in college football, giving up 275 yards passing through the air. Well, yeah, clearly, right? Passing through the air, same thing. Taylor's versatility keeps him on the radar. He's averaging 18 plus opportunities per game with 500 rushing yards, 102 yards receiving, and 8 total touchdowns on the season. Adding his 19 receptions right there. And of course, you've got a back who can stay on the field, whether they're up big on North Carolina or they're chasing North Carolina. And that price tag, 6,700 for a workhorse running back, we love that. We'll take it any day of the week with Taylor there. And then let's go to here. Where are you? Running back Jeremiah Cobb out of Auburn at 5,900 there. Auburn, they're just a 1.5 point road underdog this week versus Arkansas with a solid 28 point team total. And the Razorbacks, they've been getting gashed on the ground, surrendering 210 plus yards per game on the ground. And that's where Cobb comes in. With Damari Austin no longer on the roster, Cobb has definitely taken over as Auburn's lead back, right? And last week against Missouri, he handled 20 touches for 111 rushing yards. And that type of workload should definitely continue. And with some, I would say for sure, some uncertainty at quarterback, Auburn should maybe, I mean, it's smart, right? They should lean heavily on Cobb again, right? I mean, that's what any smart person would do, right? As a coach, you would lean heavily on your star running back. And a 5,900, man, he's definitely one of our value plays of the game. And now let's go to our value play, not of the game, but of the slate. My bad. Now let's go to our actual value play of the slate, and that is running back Torrey Blaylock out of Oklahoma at 5,600. Oklahoma enters the week as 4.5 point home favorites against Ole Miss, carrying an implied total of 28 points as well, just like Auburn. And Ole Miss hasn't exactly been a wall against the run, allowing 168 yards rushing per game. And Blaylock, he settled in as OU's clear-cut RB1, which we love at that price tag, right? He's averaging 15 plus opportunities per game over his last five, right? You can see there. And if this one turns into the shootout many expect, Blaylock's volume and red zone chances make him an appealing value play who could easily find the end zone here. I mean, he's found it 4 times already, but it's I wouldn't be surprised if he gets in a couple of times here versus Ole Miss, right? So there you have it for your running backs. We have Blaylock out of Oklahoma. We have Jeremiah Cobb, Auburn. We have Damari Taylor, Virginia. And last but not least, which was first on our list, Ahmad Hardy out of Missouri. There we have it for the running backs. Now let's go ahead and target our wide receivers here. They're not in any particular order, just players that we like this week. And let's go with Bama to start off. Ryan Williams, right? We like him here. But if you can only play one Bama receiver, I mean, what I'm going to be doing is playing right here, Jeremy Bernard. Every time I played Williams, it seems like Bernard goes off, and either Williams does the same or a little worse. And with the price tag, right? Bernard at 6,600 and Williams at 7,100. I'm gonna be taking my shots with Bernard there versus South Carolina. So Ryan Williams and Jeremy Bernard out of Alabama. Another guy that I love versus Arkansas, and that out of Arkansas, that's Omega Blake, right? Omega Blake is the clear alpha when it comes to the receiving course here in this team. He's averaging almost 9 targets per game, 6 receptions, and 83.1 yards per game there with four touchdowns on the season, right? So we love that. We love a receiver that gets a ton of volume, and a 6,800. To be honest with you, he can definitely have himself a ceiling type of game. And 27.8, he's showing at 28.1, 20 fantasy points. I like Omega Blake this week versus Auburn in this game. And then if you were going to stack up, let's say Robertson, right? If you're going to stack him up, you can go ahead and, get his receivers involved. And when it comes to that, I mean, the big tight end, Michael Trigg, we do love here, right? He continues to lead the team in usage, averaging 8.6 targets and about 5 catches a game with over 70 yards per game. He already as well has 4 touchdowns on the year. And his 15.5 yards per reception tops the team, right? So it's not just some short receptions. He's getting air yardage there, right? And Trigg saw an eye-popping 11 targets last week, but somehow only came down with 3 receptions for 56 yards, as you can see there, versus TCU. That was a game that I targeted heavily, right? Definitely a volume number that's just too good to ignore when it comes to the targets there. So if you're getting Robertson, it's good to team him up with Michael Trigg. And right behind him, we have Josh Cameron, right? He's been playing like a true alpha as well, right? Averaging 8 targets per game, almost 6 receptions and 77 yards per game, and of course 3 touchdowns there. So they're going to continue to get in shootouts. And these guys, of course, he's been playing like an alpha receiver, but of course, the production and touchdowns haven't been there. But once they start connecting in the end zone, man, his price is going to skyrocket. Right now it currently sets at 5,500, but good combo right there, Trigg and Cameron to stack up with Robertson there, right? And then from there, from Baylor, we can go with Cincy on the other side of things. And we're going to go ahead and start off with Cyrus Allen. I mean, Cincy receivers, they're definitely maybe in the best matchup, right? When it comes against Baylor's leaky secondary. But we're going to go ahead and start off with Cyrus Allen at 5,700. He's definitely the top option here for Cincy. He is only averaging about five targets, right? And he's catching about 85 plus percent of them at four receptions there, almost 50 yards per game, while leading the team with eight touchdowns there, which we do like, right? He's definitely the highest and safest stacking partner for Shoresby if you're going to be stacking him and if you play him, right? So Cyrus Allen there. And, when it comes to value, you can go with Caldwell, right? I mean, it's 3,800 there. I mean, that's definitely value, right? And he's shown that he can get you points right there, 24.9, 20.8, right? So at that price tag, I mean, he's a great value. And then you can also go with Caleb Goody right here. Same thing, 22.6, 14.1, 16.3. And in this game, I mean, they should score a ton of points, and it's not going to be a huge blowout where they're going to stop passing the ball. Baylor should keep up. If this turns out into that potential that it has with that 68 over under, man, the price tag, just throw them out the door. Everyone's going to eat there in that game, both Baylor and Cincy wide receivers there, right? And then let's go to all here, to all games. We have the most expensive guy, Elijah Sherratt, right? As you can see, his numbers there, 23, 29.1, 28.2, 30.2, 5.3, 36.7, 7.4. So he's definitely has a low floor. But I mean, overall, he's been consistent, right? He's been the definition of consistency this season. He's averaging 8 targets, 6 receptions, and 86 yards per game. And he already has 9 touchdowns, leading the team, right? He's definitely the go-to in Indiana's offense and brings both volume and red zone reliability there. And versus UCLA, if they can keep it close, oh man, Surratt should have himself a game. And despite his price tag, I love Surratt this week. Let's see here. And another guy that we've been targeting, I know he was dealing with injuries, right? Is Chase Brown. They're coming off a bye week and they're going up against Kansas. Brown is clearly the top option for Kansas State, averaging nearly 8 targets per game, 5 catches, and 60 yards with 3 touchdowns this year. I would say three, one, two, let's see. Oh, no, 4 touchdowns this year, right? He's got one through the ground, but he's getting uh, steady looks and could be a great correlation piece with Avery Johnson if you're stacking that game. And if Johnson goes off through the air, best believe that Brown is going to have a lot to do with that. And I love Brown this week. I've been loving him for the last few weeks. So there we have him. And then we can go to, oh, right there, Isaiah Sategna III out of Oklahoma. And Sategna, he's emerged as Oklahoma's WR1, right? Commanding also 8 targets, about 5 receptions and 70 yards per game, plus 4 touchdowns. He's taken over this passing game and provides solid mid-tier value at his price at 5,600. As we can see there, 20.3, 10.1, 23.5, 30.3, 16.7. And I don't know why he's priced this low. Almost like Sorsby at quarterback. Sategna, he's definitely mispriced here on DraftKings at wide receiver. We love him here. And then I would say last but not least, if you're stacking Nico out of UCLA, right? I mean, we would say that Gilmer is the one viable receiving option to pair him with. He's averaging about 7.6 targets per game, 4 catches, and 52 yards per game. But he's only got 2 touchdowns this season, right? So you can definitely, stack him up with Nico. But UCLA's offense is limited. But if you feel like Nico's gonna go off and you want to stack him with someone, Gilmore would be it. But if not, you can just go ahead and run Nico naked, right? But there we have it. For the wide receivers, I mean, we covered everything: quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, and let's say a stack, that you might like here, or you can go ahead and do something like, let's see, Sorsby, right? Team him up with his wide receiver and Allen, and bring it back here with Robertson, right? Bring it back with Trigg right there, and you can just go heavy on that game and get Cameron in there. Running back, I don't know. You can do that, right? That's a stack there. You can also do, let's see here, right? You can do Johnson, Chase Brown, right? I mean, there's many ways you can go here, of course. And you can run Haynes King naked, right? Nico naked. But there you have it. That's what I got for you guys. That's gonna wrap up Week Nine's Profit Playbook DFS breakdown. Every week we're growing, learning, and cashing together, and that's what this channel is all about, right? It's a profit playbook. And if you roll with the Week 8 picks, you already know how good it feels to see that green screen at the end of the day. Let's run it back and make Week 9 even bigger, okay? And don't forget, like, subscribe, and share this video with your DFS crew. It helps more than you know. And I appreciate it so much. Well, anyways, I'm Jaime Hernandez, and this has been the Profit Playbook DFS, where every lineup is built to win. See you next week, and as always, play smart and profit big.